With over 1,300 entertainment industry guests and over 6 million viewers, live from the Pepper J Production Studio in Hollywood, California, it's the ActorsE Chat Show, every Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific Time, a Pepper J production. It's the ActorsE Chat Show.
Welcome to ActorsE Chat. I'm your host, Tracey Birdsall. And today we are so fortunate to have a very well-known science fiction film director who also produced and directed over 500 music videos, including for Manowar overseas. So anyway, he's an amazing man. He's done tons of science fiction. And Starship Rising is out right now, and I think it's number 8 on the charts in the UK. So anyway, I'm very, very proud to introduce to you Mr. Neil Johnson.
Hey! Good morning.
So Neil.
Yes.
We're very happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So tell us, what got you interested in science fiction in the beginning?
I think the first thing, my earliest memory, I was the age of 2, and I saw Neil Armstrong walking on the moon. And I couldn't understand how he could be on the moon and on, television at the same time. It was so confusing to me. My dad took me outside and was trying to explain the concept, and I think from that point onwards I was hooked. All I cared about was science fiction and traveling into space, and that's it. That's my earliest memory. So from that point I was obsessed with cameras and lenses, and here I am today.
So when did you start the process of becoming a director, and how did you go about that?
Oh, that's a good one. I directed my first music video, I think, when I was 16. It was a big visual effects extravaganza, I remember that. And then I applied for film school. And they didn't take me at first because they were a little bit confused by me. But they finally accepted me. It took me, I had to harass them to let me into the film school. And they let me in, and I actually graduated. And I went out into the world, and it was, it's the mid-'80s, I guess. It was really hard times. People were really negative in the world. And
explain that. Like, why would they be negative about your wanting to direct a film and to create something like that? I mean, how?
Well, you're young, and I wanted people to train me. Like, I wanted to be, shoot cameras and stuff. And I approached this famous director of photography who'd done a lot of movies, and I said, could you train me? Just teach me something. And he refused. He said, absolutely not, because one day you'll take my job. And that's, I was horrified. Then one day I met this guy, Brett Gibson, who was a cameraman at Channel 9, and he actually taught me how, what framing was and what cameras were, and really helped me out. So it's good people you meet around the bad people, So I left, I was living in Australia, I left Brisbane, and took a job at a television station as a trainee cameraman. But it turned out I knew more than anybody in the station. And, I'd already been doing my own little short films and documentaries. And after 3 months, the head of the station gave me a documentary to direct for the station. And I did that. And next minute, I was being rostered on as a television director. I was the age of 21. And from that point onwards, at 21, I've been a director since that time. And I did all these music videos for free. I did anything I could just to get more experience. And I just worked my butt off for years and years and years. Finally, I got, after music video number 40, somebody paid me to do it. That was for this pop star, Nicole Gibson, in Australia, and she was really nice. And from there, it just kind of grew and grew and grew, and then,
So tell me about when you did because I know you did the music videos for Manowar. So
Yes.
Tell me about that experience. How did you get that? And tell the audience a little bit about that, because it's a pretty fascinating story.
Well, yeah, let's see, on that one, we probably jump ahead a bit. I'd done a lot of music videos, about 300 or 400 at that point, and a lot of, heavy metal bands in Europe and stuff. And Manowar approached me and said, look, we really need somebody who can...
these are pictures of what you're talking about right there.
Yeah, that's
really impressive.
Well, Manowar were just suddenly on the rise, having their second comeback in 2002 in Europe. And all of a sudden...
Is that you right there?
That's me directing with my friend Steve. All of a sudden, they exploded in the European market. And they were playing in front of 50,000 people.
Oh, wow, look at that crowd.
And as they expanded, so did I. So I got to do all these massive live coverages and music videos and
Oh, wow. So this is
yeah. And
fire.
because of them, I accelerated my career dramatically. You know, that was a thing we did called the Earthshaker, which you can see on screen now, which I was
This
directing.
look like really big budgets.
Oh,
Like,
it was.
What were your budgets like on these
Well,
things?
well, that particular live show, I think we blew about €500,000 in one day on the coverage, and it was like 32 cameras. This is 2005. We
Wow.
had like every HD camera that existed in Europe at the time, and all the camera cranes everywhere. It was the biggest thing ever done at the time in Europe for a live band, and it was incredible. We had
that's
we had an orchestra on one side of the stage. The other side we have a 3-stage level of a choir. We had the band in the middle, explosions, and massive crowd, and that was the peak of my music video career, and in between that I was doing feature films, so it kind of crystallized everything.
So tell me about making your first feature film, and I mean,
Oh,
from
that's a
what I
story.
hear,
Yes.
you also made the first digital feature film.
Well,
so tell
again,
us that story.
it goes back to the negativity of people, and I'm not dissing on the country of Australia, but there were some very negative people towards me back then, who basically said, I was sat down one day and said, look, you don't have what it takes to be in the film industry. You should go and shoot weddings. And this is the head of a seriously, this is the head of a big company, the biggest production house in Australia told me this. He said, you don't have what it takes. And I said, I don't believe you. And I've met the guy recently and said, well, you were wrong. And he didn't say anything to that.
That must have felt good.
Yeah, not really. Yeah, you get over that stuff quickly, but those sort of people push you on in a weird way, and I'm thankful for him to say that, because that's what made me go out and become a director at 21. That's what pushed me.
Right.
And so I wanted to make a feature film. I was running a production house in Australia, and I said, well, I need to make a movie. I've done 10 short films. It means nothing. It got me nowhere. So let's do a feature film. And I was on the cusp of all this digital technology, and there were a couple of companies coming in saying, because I was doing really nice, interesting work, people were giving me free equipment and saying, look, you want to try this new non-linear edit system, and it's all broadcast quality and this and that. And so I literally worked out a way to shoot a feature film for a small budget, and I shot the world's first digital feature film. As far as I know, I could be wrong.
What was it called?
The film was called Demons in My Head. This was, I think, 1997. I started doing it in 95, but finished 1997.
And did you write that too?
I wrote and directed that.
Do you write everything that you do?
I do. I don't always want to write, but it's just a necessity. The movie came out, and people said, "Oh, you're a fool. You're an idiot for doing this."
Oh, and this is the poster
That's
for
the poster
it?
for it. It got released worldwide in many
And
countries.
what year was that in?
That was 97. I think got released in 99.
Okay.
Now the weird thing was, George Lucas, who did Star Wars, he came to Australia. He was scouting for locations to do Star Wars Episode 2. And he was giving a big speech at some producers' conference. And everyone was giving me, negativity.
Again?
Because you should have shot 35mm. Why did you do digital? This is what they told me. This is back then. Nobody knew.
Right.
And I don't blame them for saying that. George Lucas got up on stage and said, basically called me a visionary. And said, people like Neil Johnson doing digital films. This is the future of filmmaking. And I had a chat with George Lucas and Rick McCallum, who's a chain smoker, really nice guy, funny as hell.
I know how much you like that.
Well,
and who's this a picture of?
Oh,
Right
that's George
here?
Lucas,
There you
yeah.
go.
And I mean, I'd say he's probably one of the great inspirations in my life, because, he was the only person who came on board and said, look, you're doing the right thing. And it was like, wow, this is the guy who I guess I idolized in my life has come to me. And the defining moment in my life was when I saw George Lucas standing there. He's pretty short. And I thought, the whole creative universe of Star Wars, $1 billion franchise, is created from this guy, this one guy's brain.
Right.
I thought, that's power. That's inspiration. That's glory. And that's what keeps me going. It's like, we can have all the nice toys and the equipment and the drive, but it's in here. It's the creativity in here, and that's what pushes me on every day.
Well, and I mean, I'd like to add in, because I know you very well, that you are a visionary, and that you're very genius in the way that you do things, and that you can see things that other people can't see, and that's why you're able to create these.
And that's something I've learned through all the bad things that have happened in my life, and there's been a lot. You take that and you use it, and you it's like being an actor. You turn that around and you throw it back out and say, okay, I'm going to use this. I'm going to use this to make a good thing in my life.
No,
So.
I think that's a beautiful thing. Well, we're watching ActorsE Chat. I'm your host, Tracey Birdsall. We'll be right back after a word from just one of our sponsors.
Over her long career, Nina Foch appeared in classic films such as Spartacus, The Ten Commandments, and An American in Paris. She received an Academy Award nomination for her performance in Robert Wise's Executive Suite. In 1965, Nina Foch arrived here at USC to begin teaching directing, and I was lucky enough to get into one of her first classes. Even as she continued acting in film and television, Nina's passion for teaching lasted for over 40 years. Her course was immensely popular because she developed her own unique style, drawing on her experiences studying with Lee Strasberg, Stella Adler, and Uta Hagen, and being directed by such icons as Vincent Minnelli, Stanley Kubrick, Cecil B. DeMille, and Otto Preminger. As I began directing, the tremendous value of her teachings became evident and how important it was to preserve them for future generations. We became close friends, and at a cinema department event, we ran into my former classmate George Lucas, who invited us up to Skywalker Ranch, where we discussed creating a DVD of her course. He agreed to finance it, and on January 10th, 2002, we began taping an entire semester using a crew of USC film students. We filmed for 8 hours a week for 15 weeks, and this is the result.
Okay, so what are we going to do this semester?
Hi, welcome back to ActorsE Chat. I'm your host, Tracey Birdsall. And don't forget to visit our sister channel, Actors Reporter. And there's lots of exciting things there. There's interviews, there's red carpet, there's promotional things. And if you go down to the bottom, you'll even notice that there's our discounts. And you can click on that and you can find specials just for, networking and classes and lessons. And as you see there, photo labs and John Michael Ferrari. I saw that go by. Click on that. Okay, well, welcome back. And here I am with our guest, Neil Johnson. Welcome back.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Where were we before?
Oh, we were talking about George Lucas.
Oh, yes, yes. Well, after that, my first film was a sort of sci-fi horror. My second, by the way, I got really badly screwed by the distributors of my first movie, and I think I had about $2,154 left in the bank. So I went out and made a second movie, To Become One, which made a big profit, and kind of helped my career a little bit, which was nice. Then I ran out and did a movie called Battle Space.
Well, to bring you back real quick, when
Yeah.
you talk about you made a movie and you had, 20, and there's To Become One.
Yes,
yeah.
that's the European release.
But didn't you also make a movie on how to make a movie for $2,000 after making a movie for $2,000?
I did. Yeah. Well, that's true. The problem was...
I know I'm skipping around here.
Well,
but
the problem was I was being interviewed by a Hollywood Reporter and this and that, and To Become One came out when Blair Witch came out, and so everyone thought I was capitalizing on the Blair Witch thing, and it was not true. It really cost me $2,000. So I had to. Fangoria magazine did a big article on me. I had to explain how I did it. I was being interviewed everywhere, and I had to explain how I made a movie for $2,000, and still have to this day. So I ended up doing a big documentary on how I did it, just to help educate people. Because I remember the guy who would never show me anything. I remember this person really well. And I thought, I'm not going to be that person. I'm going to tell people, this is how you do it. If somebody wants to know how things are done, this is how you do it. And so some friends of mine and myself created these instructional DVDs on how I make my movies, which we'll talk about later on, of course. But it's, I don't like to have secrets and hide things. I think that's just not a great thing. So
where can people find that if they want to find a copy of that? On how to make a movie for because I think that's really interesting myself.
Yeah, well, there's a whole series of them. You can go to my website, www.empire.com, em-pire.com.
Is that it?
Yes, and you can see right at the top. You can see my movies there.
And then on the right, there's the one for...
Yeah, the middle one's the big package where you really get to learn everything about how to make a movie and stuff. And there's my other movies there. You can pretty much buy most of the films.
I love your artwork.
Yeah, it's a lot of different people do that, and I'm very proud of my movie posters. You know,
Yeah.
it's all there to sell the movie, of course, but
Yeah, but it works.
it's nice.
It's beautiful.
I love art.
Because Neil actually makes a profit on his movies, I might add, which is an amazing thing. This day and age, there's so many independent filmmakers and directors out there that don't.
Well, it is a movie business. And, you know, I've done a lot of this and that for years, and you have to make a living. I mean, I'm not a rich person by any means, but I guess it's every cent I make goes back into the movies. So I reinvest and reinvest and reinvest. And eventually it's going to have to pay off in a big way. You know, I think I've done like 12 feature films now. So it's one of those situations where you just have to keep pushing and pushing and pushing until something hits, you know. And it's, for me, it's just like a little gradual climb, you know. And the good thing about it is, you know, I get to choose the movies I do. I do science fiction films. I get to work with great actors, and that makes me very happy.
Well, looks like we have some chatters that have some questions.
Yes,
so.
we actually have 2 chatter questions. Welcome all of our ActorsE chatters. We appreciate you live Monday through Friday here from Hollywood, California. Neil, one chatter asks, I'm in high school. He's actually in Florida. And he said, how do you think I should best get started? And another chatter from Bismarck asks, what great actors have you worked with?
Oh.
So let's take
Good
the high schooler.
Okay, the first question. That's a very good question. How should you start? I would, if you can do film school, great. If you don't have to do film school. I don't want to plug my own product, but obviously, you know, I list the steps in my videos on how you can make a movie, and pretty much just get a camera, start shooting, and shoot and shoot. Watch your own stuff back, make criticisms, have other people be critical of your work, and then just keep reshooting, keep making short movies. Start studying any way you can. I did film school, and I got out of film school, and I kept studying for years and years and years, and I still am learning to this day. So I think just go out in the world with a camera, with an open mind, learn as much as you can, get good instruction from people, you know, download some courses, or go to a school, or find some training DVDs, or do none of those things and do it yourself. The secret is I did everything my way, and that's what worked for me, and I listened to nobody in the end. I did everything I felt I should do, and that was the big secret. That's how I got to where I was, and I started in Australia. I'm British, but I started in Australia. It was a fight to get to Los Angeles, and I'm in Hollywood now. And it's a very difficult road, and I've had to, you know, devote my entire life to it. So, just if you want to do it, just do it with an open heart and work your butt off, and you will get somewhere. The other question I think was
On actors.
I love working. My favorite thing is working with actors. So I mean, we can't start on that one easily. Who's the famous people I've worked with? Well, I've done a lot of music videos for bands like U2, Manowar, Emmy. This famous singer-songwriter.
She's amazing.
Rhapsody of Fire. But I've also worked with actors like Christopher Lee from, you know, he was the evil wizard in Lord of the Rings, and, you know, Count Dooku in Star Wars and the original Dracula. Recently worked with Barry Corbin.
Oh, yes.
Great actor.
Oh, yes.
And a really nice guy. There's a list a mile long of famous people. Pretty much everyone on Star Trek I've directed. You know, the old series and the new, except for William Shatner. So, I mean, I could name drop a million times.
Didn't you have a good Christopher?
Oh, it's Emmy,
Oh.
the great singer-songwriter. Yeah, I did some great music videos for her. I put Emmy in one of my, in the latest film, Starship Rising. And also did some really interesting music videos.
Oh, there
with
she is on the
her.
screen.
Yeah, and she's the most
Gosh.
amazingly talented, wonderful person I know. We just got on really well. It was kind of like brother and sister in a way. And
She's an amazing human being.
she is.
I have
She
to
really
admit.
is, and she's so talented singer-songwriter. And we kind of did this.
What are we watching right here?
This
then?
is a music video I did with her. I think it's called "Time to Move On," and it's all about her breaking up from her robotic boyfriend and meeting a new guy. He's played by Darren Jacobs. He was in Starship Rising. And, you know, we try to tell stories. And when I do a music video with somebody like Emmy, we can actually tell a story and not just do something that's just like, oh, here I am dancing. I've done 500 music videos. So I don't want to keep, you know, repeating myself all the time. Yeah, every movie I do has a different texture and a flavor. So, you know.
Right, right. So, speaking of what other movies, what is it that you have been? Oh, there's Darren.
Jacobs. That's Darren Jacobs.
I love Darren.
Now we've just finished doing. I've had him in 3 movies. I had him in the movie Death Machine, which is a film I shot in the UK. Then we had him in Starship Risings 1 and 2. And then we had Darren Jacobs in the new film, At the Edge of Time. And Darren Jacobs is truly one of the greatest actors. I want to say the greatest because there's a lot.
Is this Death Machine?
Yeah, that's the movie Death Machine, shot in the United Kingdom.
It's a great picture.
That was shot in Yorkshire. My best friend Phil Bertham had died a few weeks before, and I was in misery, and I just turned around and said, I'm going to make a movie. So I made Death Machine. And it brought me out of my unhappiness, because making movies is the most joyous thing on the planet.
And when's Death Machine coming out?
Death Machine is finished. It should be released in the next few weeks, months, I believe. It's gone to market already, so it's going to be released worldwide. But I mean, back to Darren Jacobs. I think you've had the pleasure of working with Darren as well in the movie At the Edge of Time. And Darren is he steals the movie. I hate to say, I mean, you are truly incredible in my movie. But you've got to see it.
Darren had a much bigger part than I did.
He had this amazing role. And I was watching this movie, and I mean, I was in tears some of the days. And every member of the crew came to me and said, and the crew who've worked with me on 5 or 10 films, and said, this is incredible.
Oh, and who's this?
Oh, there's Edge of Time. That was you in the Edge of Time.
Me?
That was kind of my little fantasy image of a woman. I have a thing. I have a thing for women with pigtails. That sort of. It's just one of those things.
I know. I think I wore pigtails for about a week after that.
There's Darren Jacobs. It's the Viking in me. And then I did this Darren again. We shot in the Salton Sea. There's our robot.
There's the robot, which actually is in the corner of the living room right now.
Yes, and Darren.
It's my Christmas tree.
And there's a few. Who are the other actors we see there?
Anna Easton, Mark Hawes.
Mark Hawes,
very good friend. And who's that?
That's you. And Michael Martin.
Michael Martin.
Behind, and we
there's Barry Corbin.
Barry Corbin on the set.
And Nikki.
Yeah, and we had Sarah. We had a girl called
Sarah Gore.
Yeah, Sarah Gore, who was this wonderful actor, who came at the last minute for the lead role and was incredible.
I love this spaceship. This is the Rapier.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
That was a spaceship we built for the film, built by Jim Zickery, who, we build spaceships. That's kind of what we do. That was a great scene. There's going to be a lot of explosions added to that later on, but that was a scene of great soldiers running around blowing things up. It's a war movie in places. It's a time travel war film. And we have some nice looking sets. It was. The
sets were beautiful.
Yeah,
but Barry Corbin again.
Barry Corbin is just such a nice guy to have around. As Anna Easton, and she was a sweetheart. Anna Easton was a very, very famous actress from Finland.
Right.
Who we were very lucky to get on the film. I felt very good about having her.
Yeah, she's the host of Wipeout in Finland.
Yeah. She was like. She's very famous in Finland. She's on all these magazine covers and stuff, and so we got her.
She also does print work, yeah.
Yeah, and she was good fun.
She's a very sweet person.
She was.
Yeah. So, and when do you think that one's going to be?
At the Edge of Time. We're in post production right now. Literally just finished shooting. We're still doing a couple of pickup shots here and there. So I would like to think it's going to premiere. No, it's a premiere. It'll premiere at the film market in Cannes in 2016 for sure. I think it'll be finished by the end of the year, but we can't say for sure. We don't want to rush things here.
Oh, there's Anna.
Anna Easton, yeah. Really, really strong actress, very interesting, very focused person.
Very consistent.
Yes.
Very consistent.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
which is a hard thing to find.
Exactly.
Right.
Consistency is everything. Oh, you want to hear me talk about acting?
I was just going to go there. I was just going to say, so tell me, or tell the world, how do you choose your actors? Because it's a little different than most people. So start at that point.
Well, this is
very interesting.
This is ActorsE chat. So I'm going to give away the secrets.
And Actors Reporter, I might add. Don't forget an Actors Reporter.
Well, let me tell you. Okay, I've probably cast over 1,000 people. In the productions, it has to be way over 1,000 people. So I've been there, done that. I've seen everybody come in. See the actors come in nervous. They try every trick. Sometimes the girl will touch you here and be a little bit flirty.
I didn't do that.
No, but that doesn't work. That doesn't work. It does not work. Bringing me gifts. Well, if you bring, that could work.
I didn't do that either. I swear.
I appreciate the gifts, but it doesn't work. It doesn't sway me. So
none of that works.
No, nothing.
But what does?
What does is honesty. If an actor is, even if they're not that experienced, it doesn't matter, because you want to be the one who discovers that person. If they can come in And I hate people who are trained to be good in the casting room and not good on set.
I do
it's
too.
my pet peeve, because it's happened to me so many times. They do the greatest performance in the casting room, and then they come on set and it's like they just don't know how to maintain a character. So proper training for a real actor is everything, and I mean proper training.
I have to interrupt for just a second. I have to interrupt on that, and then I'll go back to you. And the reason why is because when you go out there, there's so many classes for actors on audition technique, and it's horrible because then you end up on set with somebody who blew an audition away, but then they can't deliver when you're there. So always make sure that you work with coaches and with classes that aren't just audition technique, because once you get there, you have to be able to deliver. And it's really, really frustrating for the other actors. Okay, I'm done. Go ahead.
Thank you. No, I agree to all of that. I don't cast much anymore. I mean, sometimes you kind of have to do a read here and there. I sit down and I chat with the person. I'm a very good director. I know people. I can smell, fakery a mile away. So if somebody's real to me and just being honest with me, I can pick up on that. I can pick up a good actor across the room. And Darren Jacobs was a good example. I saw him across the room in a restaurant. I thought, this guy is an actor and he's a good actor. And guess what? I was right. He was never cast. I never made him read anything. And we've done 4 movies together. And I just found him in a restaurant. So I go on my gut instinct of, is this a nice person? Is this a genuine person?
So don't say what restaurants you go to on this show, because after saying that, you're going to have all these people looking for you in restaurants.
No, it's just coming up and being a nice person. Don't try to be super, this and that. And if you're marketing yourself to me, just do it nicely and politely, and just send me an email every 3 to 6 months. And it will work. It does work if you do that. But people think they're running a 100-yard sprint, and they're not. They're running it's long distance running, and you have to be in for the long haul. You have to pace yourself and just be very steady. And
what should they say in those emails? I'd imagine you don't want negative emails about how they can't pay their bills or how they haven't worked in a long time. You want something positive just to bring themselves up in their mind. I mean,
yeah, you get those
would
emails.
That be true?
Yeah. And then that smells of desperation. Exactly. I don't need to know your personal information. I just need to know you're going to turn up on set, you're going to know your lines, and you're going to be consistent every single day. And it seems to be a hard thing to ask sometimes, especially in Hollywood, because everybody wants to be a star and everybody wants to be this and that. And egos get in the way in such a big way that it ends up destroying most people's, chances to be in a movie. I had one actor turn up on my set, and I'll never forget this. He bought his own chair with his name on it. And I mean,
we probably should not mention who that is.
He was a nice guy, but
go on.
He bought his own chair. Then he brought his dog, and his girlfriend. On set, which, he was a great actor. He brought his own costume too, which was great. The dog then had a diarrhea problem and pooped everywhere.
Was he a name actor or just a great actor?
No, he was not a name actor at all.
Just feeds the story. Go
ahead.
No,
he wasn't a name actor.
Right.
And the dog pooped everywhere. And then he was smoking drugs outside. And then he was coming on with this ego stuff. And then he came to me and said, look, I've got a television commercial, a Geico commercial. Next Tuesday, I've just booked. Is it okay if I don't come to set that day? Can we reschedule the whole movie? Just after he was the first guy I cast in the film. And I looked at this guy, and it's like, are you insane?
And how do you
I saw
feel
the commercial.
about that?
Well, I saw the commercial. He's done there for 5 seconds. It was embarrassing for him. Right. It was horrible. And he would have been on the movie poster. And now millions of people would have seen his face in 2 movies on Starship Rising. Right. And it was insane.
But you bring up a good point, because you were saying before...
I fired him, by the way. I fired him on the spot when he pulled that. But
when people do that, when they try to reschedule things, how does that make you feel? Like, talk about the professionalism of when you're actually working.
It's completely unprofessional. I mean, I get it if you have a medical problem, something really major come up. But to me, it's just like, when you commit to that role, you commit to that role 100%. If you can't give me 100%, it's disgusting to me. Because at least the one thing I'll say about my movies, they will be released worldwide. They will get seen, and they will get your numbers up. I'll give you an example. Emmy, this singer-songwriter who was in Starship Rising, had never been in a movie before. She was in Starship Rising. She went from nothing to 7,000 on IMDb.
Right.
They were her numbers, which means she was the top. She was the number 7,000 most famous person in the world. So, my movies work. I see we have a commercial break coming up.
You're watching ActorsE Chat. I'm your host, Tracey Birdsall. We'll be right back after a word from one of our sponsors.
The great thing about NNow Media is a one-stop shop. We are soup to nuts. We have writers, directors, producers, animators, motion graphics artists, editors, videographers, musicians, all under one roof. And we are a boutique creative house where we actually do the creative at much more affordable price and have the staff in-house to execute it professionally. My name is John Palacio.
My name is Luz Montez.
My name is Paul Robinson.
I am Jesse Cervantes.
I'm Curtis Peel.
My name is Ben Joran.
One of the most common questions we have from potential clients is, how does it work? What happens when you engage NNow Media to create a video, a marketing campaign?
It first starts with, obviously having the phone conversation with the client.
Brainstorm with them to come up with a really good concept and a really good idea to push whatever they're trying to do to the next level.
Only with that in mind can we really try to tailor a concept and a script for their exact audience that fits in with their branding and the message they want to tell.
We'll storyboard it out, get a real rough idea of what we want to do.
We'll then present the client with a couple of options, different ways that we could go with some of the things that we've come up with.
And they'll say this is good, and then we'll come back, we'll start animating that or designing it or editing it.
Our clients are generally, like to be really hands-on, and we'd like to hear from you kind of all along the board. There's no surprises.
What we like to do with every partner is we actually create a page on the NNow website.
So they can give feedback, and that way when the time we get to the final product, usually there's not a whole lot more revisions to do because we've already been working together the whole time.
The big difference is that real personal creative touch.
We have a creative group that can execute that vision, whether it's animation, video, motion graphics, and do so with some unique creative that is custom tailored to that business.
Dream it up. It's video. It's magic. It can happen.
You're watching ActorsE Chat. I'm your host, Tracey Birdsall, and I'm sitting here with Neil Johnson.
I'm quite enjoying this because I get to say all the things about actors that I love and sometimes not so happy about. And it's only because I've done so many things. And I'm letting people know the pet peeves. So people, if they're going to be an actor, they know what not to do. Mm-hmm. Directors are very smart. Well, people like me, I can see through people in a heartbeat. I'll give you another example. Sometimes fear or ego gets in the way, and on the day of the shoot, you may often get a phone call from the actor saying, "I'm sorry, I feel sick today, I can't come in," or I've injured my arm or something like that, or leg or whatever. And come on, we're not that stupid. We know you've decided on the day. Why not tell us the day before? Why not give us some warning? We understand if you're afraid, you don't want to do it, or whatever, you had an argument with the boyfriend, you don't want to go on camera because you have to kiss a boy, or whatever it is. We know why, and we understand, but to leave it to the last second, I find that really disgusting.
And expensive.
And expensive, and this person, you will then go out of your way to make sure that this actor will never get work with any of your friends or colleagues ever again. You'll warn people, and you'll go out of your way to warn people about these sort of things.
Looks like we have a chatter question.
Yeah, we have a question.
The chatter wants to know, do you accept unsolicited headshots and resumes?
Yes, I do.
How would they reach you?
They could email me. If they go to my website, www.empire.com, em-pire.com. If you're an actor, send me your headshot. It's quite okay.
There's the website right there,
There's
right?
the website.
Okay.
And just you could just email me your information, or you can go Neil@empire.com, em-pire or -pire.com, and email me directly, and I'll have a little folder I put it into. Of course, if you're in town, if you're in Los Angeles, it's always a good thing. If you're not in Los Angeles, I'm not going to fly you in because I don't have those sort of larger budget things. But if you're in the UK or in Europe somewhere, and I'm off shooting a movie in those countries, email me your stuff anyway, because I have a folder. I put all my actors in there. When I'm casting, I let the word out. I will tell everybody. And just don't send me anything about scripts, because often I've got so many films in production, and if you send me a script that's similar to the one I'm doing, that could be a big problem. And I can't accept scripts, but I can accept headshots and queries.
By the way, I was in that little folder once.
You were.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It's a good point.
I
So
came across Tracey somewhere, and she was in my collection.
I was in the collection, so
And
there you go.
It's just, I like to I need actors as much as they
So
need
see,
me.
it works.
Yeah.
Okay, we have another chatter question.
We have an in-studio question, and they want to know, so is it difficult to direct and act in the same project?
Oh,
Well, you're not really an actor.
I have done this.
But he's done like cameos and things. Like, go ahead. And
I've had actors who didn't turn up on the day, and we're out in the desert shooting, and I had to jump in and do the scene because there's no other males around who could do it. It's extremely difficult to act and direct in a film, especially when you don't have a camera operator, which is how we were stuck in the desert. No, I would recommend people don't direct and act. Unless you've got a very good DP who you know can direct you as well. I get it, the ego thing, and it sounds good. I'm going to control everything. I'm going to direct. I know what I'm going to do. I would do anything to be directed by somebody. If I was acting,
I would say that even producing and acting, that you should only do it if there's another producer, because we produced and I acted, but I played a much smaller role, and then. Yeah, so you have to be able to commit your time completely.
Well, I often produce and direct things together, and what you do is some days you just wear the producer's hat, some days you wear the director's hat. If you're acting that day, I can only wear the actor's hat that day. I have to focus on the acting.
Right.
And I'm not claiming to be a great actor or anything,
Right.
but I've done it, so I know what it takes to be on camera. And, I act as much as I can, so I know how it feels when I work with other actors. And I love being directed. I love feedback. So I know, I guess I put myself in the position of the actor more than I should.
And it's like even when I act and produce, I try to put down my producer's hat on the days that I shoot, because you can't deal with all of that going on inside and do the other side.
I mean, I've done 12 movies. I can't do it. I don't know how anyone really could do it on a low budget level. If you've got a massive support staff, it's a different story. We have another question, I believe.
We do have another question.
Well, thank you. The question is, can you talk to us more about Starship Rising?
Starship Rising. Okay, that was... See, I think I started working on Starship Rising 2012, and it was a big sci-fi epic film. It's kind of an angry version of Star Trek, I would say. And for me, I'd just done Alien Armageddon and Alien Dawn, which alien invasion movies. And I just wanted to get back to outer space and to blow things up. I wanted to see... an epic space battle type movie, kind of like the Star Wars type thing, or what I felt Star Trek should have been, much more serious and angry. And I was lucky to get...
And what are we seeing on screen here?
We're seeing Emmy, that singer-songwriter, who was one of the stars of Starship Rising, along with Darren Jacobs and a few other people. And actually, back on my acting thing, I want to talk about that. There's E.J. De La Pena and Brooke Lewis.
That's E.J. and Brooke Lewis.
Brooke Lewis is a great actress.
Well, E.J. De La Pena is a great actor,
was
too.
incredible.
Let's not cut him short.
Oh, no.
And Marilyn Gigliotti.
Marilyn Gigliotti from the movie Clerks.
Which has a remake coming out right now.
Where Clerks 3 is coming out. And
yeah.
she's, one of those, great sort of people.
Excited for her.
And I keep
on
working
that.
with Marilyn all the time. I adore her.
What is this?
That's the spaceship. we can't really talk about that. That's Emmy again we're seeing. And it's kind of this epic science fiction movie that I guess makes me very happy to watch. I try to make the movies I want to see. And that's now Raja Baruti. While we're talking about actors, I want to talk about her. That's Ralph Guzzo, the other side. But Raja Baruti, this amazing person, absolutely amazing person. We're talking about actors who are committed. Okay. Now I had one actress on set who had the flu and just didn't feel like coming in. I had to go and beg her on the phone every day to come into set, just because she felt a bit fluey and I don't know if I want to turn up today.
Oh
and I'm
gosh,
going,
that stands for a short career.
who is this person?
Like,
why are you saying this to me? I've got all these big actors and you're saying I don't feel like coming because I have the flu. Meanwhile, we have Raja on set.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to give away her personal stuff, but she was very, very ill. And I'd say she was almost at death's door.
I've gone to work sick so many
She
times.
was so messed up.
Aw.
And she didn't show it 1 second. She only whispered, I'm not feeling well, just forgive me if I'm a bit
Right.
crazy. She was so ill. I mean, we're talking really ill, majorly ill. She turned up every day without knew her lines, on the ball, and this is the sort of person I applaud every time, is an actor who, despite all the chaos, wants to act more than anything else on the planet. Acting is gold, it's life. That's Raja
this
there.
is Raja? Okay.
Yeah, amazing
It's a
person.
great picture.
Oh, she's incredible on camera, and a great person too. Really, really amazing. She's She's actually, I want to talk about her because, you know, there's a lot of things in her life that maybe she doesn't want known public, but she's an incredible human being.
And what is this from?
Starship Rising again, some of the great images. It was a major film. We shot, look at Emmy's face. How can you not love that?
Emmy has a perfect face. I just love her.
We built the set ourselves. I mean, building that spaceship, I got a scar right here from building that spaceship. Darren Jacobs again, flying the Starship with E.J. De La Pena.
Okay, now show the film. Okay.
There's the scar. You can't see it. I cut it doing the spaceship, you know, building the set. I also fell 10 feet to the floor on my back once off the ladder. So, you know, people sit there and say, oh, you know, it's an ego game. It's a glamorous world. It's not. I have scars on every piece of my body from making movies. Right here, you can't really see, but I got my hand crushed by a camera crane doing a short film once. And it was, you know, it's just how the world is.
It's like we get our war wounds, we get our bruises and things like that, and we're like all proud of them at the end of a shoot. It's like, oh, I got this bruise falling down doing this and dying.
And you've got to be, look, if you want to be an actor, you've got to be committed. And look, I expect 100% from my actors, 100%, because I give them 100%. You know, I live, breathe, and die movies, and I will die probably directing a movie. I'm sure this is going to happen.
Wouldn't that be a great thing, though?
No.
No, that's how you go.
I'd like to finish that
Not that you die early, but that you die directing.
Yeah, well, that could be. It's like
I mean, how glamorous.
I know. Well, speaking of death, okay, here's a segue. Recently, you heard about the person Davy Jones?
Oh, yes, this is a great story.
Okay. This has been on my shoulders for a while.
I think we have a picture of Davy Jones, too.
Yeah, well, you may know him from the Monkees. Going back to your childhood and everything else, when I was a young boy, I would pray to God.
Waiting for the picture. There's the picture. Yeah.
That's the last photograph ever taken of Davy Jones in the world before he passed away.
And that's a great picture of Davy Jones too.
Well, let me tell you the story of that.
Right,
I used to pray. I used to pray to God, please God, can I turn out just like Davy Jones? Please God, can I be Davy Jones?
You'd be so much shorter.
Well, yeah, I was the shortest guy in my school. I was the runt of the litter. I wanted to be Davy Jones. I thought, if nothing else, can I please be Davy Jones?
How'd that work out for you?
Well, I got taller and you know, he was just this British boy and he had a nice voice and the girls liked him, a little haircut, and I thought,
the girls really liked him.
That's the sort of guy I want to be, and I grew up to be a completely different person. However, then I met Davy Jones, and this is just before he passed away. I met him, and they were doing a documentary, and I said, look, that's how I want it to be. That was it's the 80s. That's how I want it to be. And I met Davy Jones, and I said, it's such a pleasure to meet you. Did you know every night when I went to bed, I would pray for 6 years running that I would be Davy Jones. I would be you. And now I've met you. And he looked at me and said, thank God God didn't listen to you. But he had this look in his eyes, and it's like he met himself. And I had a photograph with him, then he passed away the next day. And it was like the most horrifying thing. Did I cause his death?
Did you kill Davy Jones?
Because he met his alter ego, the man who wanted to be him so much. And it was horrifying for me. You know, he was just a bit, that's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. And he passed away. It was a horrible
That's
story.
Probably actually what he was thinking too, is that was the weirdest thing he'd ever heard.
Did I cause his death? He messed it up. So, you know, there's people like that in your life, you know. Anyway, I don't know why we got onto that story, but it's one of those things that happens.
Because you also...
Oh, look, Starship Rising. Back to that, the trailer of Starship. It's right now released in the UK. We're on. I think we hit number 7 or 8 in.
Well, I know it was 8.
Tesco.
Did it make it to 7?
No, it got down to 5 in some places. But you know, we're in the top 10 in the UK, and you can buy it in Tesco and HMV and all the stores in the UK. I'm very happy with that. It's an epic film. We finished the movie in 4K resolution, shot in the red camera as well. So again, I'm always trying to push that level of trying to get beyond, you know, the standard standard sort of films. It's 4K, which means IMAX quality. We're a commercial break coming up.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
I like the way he keeps noticing that it's commercial break time. That's
I talk too much.
Job. We're watching ActorsE Chat. I'm your host, Tracey Birdsall. We'll be right back afterward with one of our sponsors.
Hey everyone, I am Judith Jones. If you are looking for photographs, which a lot of you are, let's face it, we need photographs every day, actors, models, even if you're just, you know, the milkman, you need photographs, okay? You need to look good. And if you want to look good, you've only got one man to go to, and that's John Michael Ferrari. You see, I needed to look good. So I went to John, and he basically took me to the most beautiful place in LA and took these wonderful photographs of me, and I really didn't even recognize myself because I just looked, well, let's just face it, I looked stunning. So if you want to look stunning, like myself in those photographs, go to him. He will make you look beautiful. If you're pretty, he'll make you look prettier. If you're not pretty, he'll make you look pretty. John Michael Ferrari. That's all you need to know. So go to imagesbyferrari.com. That's the website, imagesbyferrari.com. And you can check out all his photography and you can contact him there. You can look at a picture of me. He directed me, because if you need direction, which, hello, I do, he directs you too. So go and check that out, imagesbyferrari.com. You'll love it. You'll look great. Check it out. Bye, everyone.
You're watching the ActorsE Chat, and I'm here with Neil Johnson. I'm your host, Tracey Birdsall. And what is it that we were talking about?
We were talking about how I killed Davy Jones. So I felt I killed him.
Yeah. But you didn't really kill him. You just wanted to be him.
I didn't, no, exactly. And look, all I have to say is people always want to know how I do things. I have no fear in showing people what I do and how I do it.
Well, you even did a DVD on it, and that's important to bring up again, is that you can buy his series on empire.com of how to make a movie for under $2,000, and I just think that's like a brilliant thing that you're sharing that with the world.
Well, I go through, I really give the information on how I made, especially Alien Armageddon.
There's
I focus on how I made that movie and how it got finished and how it made it, a large profit.
It's still from Alien Armageddon?
Yeah, and so it's all from Alien Armageddon. If you want to learn how I made this movie specifically, I go through nuts and bolts. You can go to the website and you can order the DVDs from Amazon. It's Loose Change, the Loose Change series. But the easy way, just go to the website, www.empire.com, em-pire.com, and you'll see the links.
And I also think it's important for actors to watch things like that. Personally, I like to know how to do everything and how to understand it on the. Okay, so this is your website, right?
The middle one will take you to the big package of all the DVDs and everything else.
Okay.
But that's, as I said, I make it my business to know everything about acting. So actors should know everything about movie making.
Actors should research everything they can about movie making, because you never know when you're going to need to know it when you're on set too.
Yeah, and if
that's how I got into producing.
If I can outact an actor who I hire, there's a problem.
That won't happen with me.
So beware.
Okay.
So
let's talk about his website.
Oh, the website.
Let's talk about your website.
Yeah, website.
Oh wait, this is your IMDb.
In the Internet Movie Database. For those who don't know.
Stealing my job again.
I'm sorry. You take over.
No, go.
I missed the mouth today.
Okay, and this is your website.
Website www.empire.com, em-pire.com. You see trailers, you see movies, links to buy all my movies.
This is your Twitter.
I'm on Twitter.
At Empire Motion Pictures.
Empire Motion Pictures. You can buy all my movies through the website. It links to Amazon, so that's very safe ordering.
What's this? Your Facebook?
My Facebook, which I rarely use, so please
Director Neil Johnson.
don't message me on Facebook ever, because I will not respond.
Like that.
I will not respond. Email me directly.
And this is Google.
I don't know what that is. Oh, that's my YouTube channel.
Oh, it's your YouTube channel.
Yeah, and I do post lots of movies up there.
That's me.
That's Tracey Birdsall.
Yes, on IMDb.
And that's how I found you, by the way.
Database.
That's how I found you.
Oh, is it?
Yes, it was.
Oh.
You're a very famous actress.
Oh, and there's my Facebook. Well, thank you. You can say that again now the camera's on.
Yeah, Tracey Birdsall. I recommend her for any great movie maker on this planet. She's truly a remarkable actress, and she gave a lot. She bled for my movie.
I love bleeding. On camera.
So let's take a look at this. So here's some more information about our ActorsE Chat show.
Let's take a look.
Hi, I'm Sonia Harley, one of your ActorsE Chat hosts. Thank you for joining us on ActorsE Chat. We are now 6 million viewers strong from all over the world, and we really appreciate you. ActorsE Chat shoots live Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific time from the Pepper J Production Studio right in Hollywood, California. Want to see all of today's episode or any other ActorsE Chat episode? Please visit ActorsEntertainment.com and put the talent's name in the search box. For instance, like if you're looking for Sonia Harley, for me, put in Sonia Harley, and we'll take you right where you need to go. And go ahead and visit the Actors Entertainment on imdb.com. That's the Internet Movie Database to see the more than 1,300 entertainment industry professionals that have been guests on ActorsE Chat. And social media is so important, so please follow us on Twitter. Our handle is at Actors Entertain, and join us on Facebook at Actors Entertainment fan page. And don't forget to like us, because those likes, they really do help out. Stay tuned for our Actors Reporter animation, which won Best Animation at the Telly Awards. Great job, and Now Media, and Pepper J Productions, and terrific singing by Melissa Suzanne. And now, a special thank you to today's ActorsE Chat guest.
Welcome back to ActorsE Chat. We're sitting here with Neil Johnson. We'd really like to thank you for being on our show. You've really provided a ton of information for our actors and for the rest of the public out there. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry if I'm a little too honest sometimes, but that's who I am.
Oh, it's fantastic. That's what everybody needs to hear. They need to hear what's real. I'd like to thank everybody out there watching. I'd like to thank our sister channel Actors Reporter. I'd like to thank everybody for paying attention and for listening to all this valuable information. And I'll see you later. Ta-ta. Goodbye.
What's that? ActorsE Chat Show? Happens to be my favorite. In the morning, I want nothing but a cup of coffee, a bottle of Kahlua, 6 naked girls. Wait, no, that's not right. ActorsE Chat Show.
Thanks for joining us on ActorsE Chat. Whether watching on the internet or on cable, remember to visit ActorsE.com and enjoy all your past ActorE Chat episodes. Just put your celebrity favorites in the search box. ActorsE Chat is shot live from the Pepper J Production Studios in Hollywood, California. ActorsE Chat is a Pepper J production. All rights expressly reserved in all formats. Thanks for watching.
Oh my gosh. Hey, big Hollywood starlet that just happens to be walking by. Yes? I'm not from around here, but I want to be an actress just like you. What do I need to know? Kid, let me tell you. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a naive newbie like you, there's one thing you need to know to get my first job. I lived in a slum, beat out 50 other girls to play a drunk bum.
I cried.
My first agent charged me 30%.
Thanks.
Working 3 jobs and I couldn't pay rent, but I'm an actor.
She's an actor.
A shark gnawed my leg on a beef film in Sydney. To pay for the stitches, I sold my left kidney. I finally made a union, their rules were complex. Their piles of paperwork fogged up my specs. But I'm an actor.
She's an actor.
I'm an actor. Well, that's rather disturbing, but what's the one thing I need to know? Don't listen to the critics. Don't follow all the tabs. Forget that sleazy photog and the agent that's got crabs. Go to Actors Reporter. ActorsReporter.com. Learn the tricks and the secrets without all the sweat. An info-packed one-stop shop. It's free and on the net. Actors Reporter. ActorsReporter.com.
How can they help her?
Career cues, union news, makeup woes, advice from pros, insurance tips, choosing scripts, everything at your feet.